Happy morning times to you and yours. It's Fix My Carcast, hosted by Bear Claw Billie, and this is not a podcast. It's a science experiment. Okay, that probably makes it sound a lot more exciting than it is. But I'm trying something a little different today, and it is not going to be that much more interesting for you, the listener, but nevertheless, I record this thing on my phone while I walk to or from work to raise money to fix my car. So go to the link in the description, hand me a little dough, you can tell me what to talk about on the podcast. We don't actually have any donors today. Anyway, as I walk to work, I hold the phone directly in front of my face because I am scared of accidentally hitting the stop button. So today's experiment, we're going to be nice and low key. We got no donations today, so I get to choose the topic. And the topic is, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna get vulnerable. I'm gonna just open up about what's on my mind, which brings us to the science experiment. I'm gonna put the phone in my pocket, and I'm gonna try to not worry too much about if it stops recording. Now, you should know, if at any point during my walk it stops recording, in order to still give you what you deserve as a listener of this podcast, a good person who will get into my nightclub called Heaven, to give you what you deserve, if it stops recording early, I will fill the rest of the podcast with original music that I composed when I got home. Is that exciting? I hope so. The phone has not gone in my pocket yet because I wanted to get all the meat and potatoes out of the way up front. Ready? I am clicking the button to lock the screen. I have no idea if it's still recording. I hate this already. It is. I can see it. And now it goes in the pocket. Immediately I am paranoid that when I get home, I have to record a lot of music. But okay. Pardon the sniffling. This is part of what you've signed up for on Fix My Carcast. You get to hear exercise noises. So I'll tell you right from the get-go, it's nice to have my hands free. I talk with my hands a lot, even though no one can see it. You know how I know I talk with my hands a lot? Because coworkers who pass me as I'm walking to work tell me, boy, you were on a really wild phone call. You were moving your hands all over the place. So, excuse me, that was gross. There's no cough button on Fix My Carcast. So please know that whenever you listen to these episodes, you need to picture me flailing my arms around like a Muppet. So we have no topics today. But let's do a topic review. Yesterday I was asked to talk about Glub Shido, a Star Wars character that doesn't exist. And instead of just politely explaining to you, seamless edit. So guess what? Here I am yelling seamless edit, so you must think, okay, what happened? Well, so here's the deal. My phone stopped recording, but for a completely different reason. I forgot to turn off all my alarms this morning. When an alarm goes off, it turns off your phone. I'm going to say that's a doesn't count for having to fill the rest of the episode with music. But let me tell you what, my eyes shot right open because I was like, whoa, that's like 24 minutes of music. That's a lot of music to write. My God, this podcast continues to be the worst idea in the world. Anyway, back to Glub Shido. I don't know if anyone was yelling at the screen. And by anyone, I mean 5 views. I got 5 views on yesterday's episode. I'm going to try to put the thing back in the thing again. Here I go. Lock screen, phone into pocket. This is nerve-wracking. Did you know I have anxiety? Well, if you couldn't tell from the other episodes, you know now. I also am pretty sure I have ADHD, as evidenced by the fact that I can't stay on topic. And for a while, a gimmick of this show was, can I stay on topic a whole episode? I feel like I pretty much succeeded talking about different forms of time travel. I did take a brief tangent to Stan H.G. Wells. And what else did I talk about that I really was just flying? Oh, the AFI 100 comedies list. That one I needed extra time. And yesterday's episode, the Star Wars episode. So Emily asked me to talk about Star Wars. She asked me to talk about the actor that plays Chewbacca's original speaking voice. And she also asked me to talk about, big trucks, glub shitto. Well, we got a sponsor coming up, and it's dogs. We'll see just how loud this sponsor is. So the deal is, first of all, I don't want to throw Emily under the bus, but apparently his name is actually Glup Shitto with a P. But you know what? I didn't know either. I didn't bother to look it up. I don't like to look things up for this podcast. I like to do research. I like to go down Wikipedia holes. It's called a crosswalk for a reason. But I didn't want to look that up. So yeah, Glup Shitto is basically a parody of when a character in Star Wars has zero story significance or emotional significance, but is a nostalgic thing you remember from your childhood. Therefore, oh my god, it's Glup Shitto. I thought his name was Glub. And what I love about the fact that I got his name quote-unquote wrong is that he's not a real Star Wars character. So I could hear people going, canonically, it's Glub Shitto, and that's when you have to admit, all right, how can it be canonical if it's a meme about Star Wars? But guess what? This is the era we live in. Memes have their own canonicity now. But anyway, if you missed yesterday's episode, I bullshitted all the way home about who Glub Shitto is. And it was basically a challenge to myself to see if I could improvise for that long. And, you know, I got a little wobbly towards the end, but I think I did okay. And the reason I did it is because there's so much more potential for, hey buddy, hi. Oh no worries. We had a different sponsor called Dogs. There's so much more potential for what this show can be. And so I was like, wow, you know, when you pick a topic for the show, and I love that so far, time travel, comedy films, Star Wars, I love that everyone's given me topics that I can talk about for a full 20 minutes. But, you know, also, I'm a masochist, and I want to know where the sadists are. And it feels a little cheap to be like, well, here's 10 ideas I can think of. But at the very least, if you're throwing money in the pot, you know, it's your money. You're paying to hear the show. You're paying me to do stuff on the show. So please, make it hurt. And I want to reiterate right now, if you have joined my Patreon, or if you've given to the GoFundMe, each of those earns you one topic. So if you've already given me one, but you're doing the other thing too, you get another topic. Get at me. Give me something good. Or give me something bad. Give me something meaty to chew on, or throw me a bone that I have to chisel into a shiv. So like, I will tell you, whoa, that's a big excavator. It is construction season, the perfect time to record a podcast on your morning walk to work. So I'll tell you, the way the whole, see if you can convincingly make up a convoluted Star Wars backstory that sounds realistic, that came to me because I was thinking like, what kinds of things could people suggest? Like they could, honestly, like this is a freebie and a pretty obvious one. And honestly, I kind of don't want this one, but here we go. Say nice things about Game of Thrones for your whole walk home. Like, that one would be torture. But to me, that's just the tip of the Crush My Cubes iceberg. Like, and so yesterday I was like, what if somebody said, I want you to improvise to improvise a story about 50 people stranded on a submarine, and you need to come up with 50 original characters, and they all need at least one line of dialogue from between your work to your home. That was just a thing that jumped into my head. Was like, you are now making a radio show about the crew of a submarine. And you know, compared to, hey, could you talk about Star Wars for 20 minutes? Yeah, in my sleep. Like, so that was just the kind of stuff I was thinking, like, could come down the pipeline. And then that morning, I was like, oh my gosh, glub shitto. If I actually talk about, glup shitto, if I talk about glup shitto, it's going to be like 4 minutes. It's going to be like, hey, there's this thing on Twitter, and, you know, let's critique nostalgia in Star Wars. Wow, a topic nobody's ever talked about. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. But then I was like, okay, Star Wars canon is nuts. Always has been. Let's just BS something that sounds plausible. And that was the game within the game I found. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, hit me with the weird stuff. Another topic I'm going to throw out there. If somebody requests that I not talk for the entire episode, I'll do that too. Again, that actually feels like a pretty easy one. And also, when comedian and musician Keith Hebert comes on the program, which he's going to do later on in this episode and every subsequent episode, you know, he's free to talk, but I can't talk. So, like, I thought that was that might be a fun challenge. Got some puppers coming up. Oh, excitable puppers. Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy, you're okay. Oh, sorry, I'll go quick. Sorry, buddy. It's okay. My goodness. We are incredibly sponsored by dogs this morning. So, yeah. I have no idea if the recording has stopped, by the way. Part of this science experiment is I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna get to work and see if it's still running. So sorry if there isn't a whole lot of, you know, substance to this episode. And to be honest, I kind of questioned, like, do you want to peek behind the curtain? Do you want me to justify yesterday's bizarre episode? I don't know. But that's kind of the point of this podcast. I don't know. I'm making it up as I go. Honestly, everything I do creatively the last few years is me waking up and saying, it's impossible to survive in America. In what ways can I creatively and demeaningly earn money? Because I ain't good at a whole heck of a lot. It feels good to say it out loud, which maybe is weird, saying it feels good to say that America is broken and maybe always has been. And I am being throttled by capitalism. And instead of throwing my body on the gears, on the levers, and making the machine stop, I am instead saying, I've got a wild idea. What if the machine could fart? Like, that's kind of my interconnectedness with capitalism, is like, all right, if I've got to ride this fire ship down, at least I'm going to fart on the flames, because it might be funny, and I might catch on fire, and that'd be something to see. So, I'm only like 2/3 of the way to work. Okay, here's a topic. I'll admit, because of this whole experiment of how is the phone doing in my pocket, I'm kind of afraid to get into any topic that really, really massages my brain. But okay, here's a minor one. I was talking to a friend the other day over the internets, because this friend lives a time zone or two away. And she asked me, like, you know, what kind of music do you like? I want to give you some music recommendations. And I started to get into my strange relationship with music. Because for one, I make music. Pay me to do that instead of embarrassing myself on the way to a job that, ain't the best. For me, ain't the best fit for me. It's a fine job, but I can admit, use the promo code DOGS and get 10% off your finger. That's right. I'm going to bite part of your finger off. So yeah, my job's fine, but I don't think it's anything I was born to do. And I rise to the challenge. I think I'm kind of awesome at it. I'm not going to tell you about it very much, but, making music, wow, that I really love. I still have a lot to learn. But what surprises people sometimes is that even though I like making music so much, then they're like, well, geez, what kind of music do you listen to? And it's like, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't grab me. I get bored by music very easily. There are certain attributes I like about it that are not attributes that other people enjoy sometimes. I think a lot about the way my brain is wired and how people who like certain types of music probably like them for very distinct, innate, primal, biological reasons. So anyway, my friend is just like, oh, wow, so what do I recommend? And eventually the conversation turned to, how do you listen to music? And this was interesting because my friend thought that this was pure chaos. And I thought, no, this is the best use of my time. So here we go. When I try to listen to a whole album, beginning to end, I usually get bored on the first track. And no offense to the musicians or the bands or whatever, or the people that like the music. I just have to stress that I can be like, yeah, what you like is great for you, but for me, I don't like it. I don't like it so much. And you shouldn't have to spend this one wild and precious life listening to music that feels like staring at a plate of mashed potatoes. And so, for me, the way I've found to get into new music, which I do often, and I love to be surprised by new music, is I will take 40 albums and I will throw them on my phone and then I will hit shuffle. Because I can usually tell what I'm gonna like from a single track. I'm doing a little side street detour because someone has entered the sidewalk at the same time as myself, and I don't want them to have to listen to the next 10 minutes of the podcast as I'm recording it. And they've got a dog and they're slowing down. Great. Okay. See, there's a difference between meeting someone going the other way and saying hello and maybe seeing if they want to talk on the show. There's another when it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you're just trying to enjoy your morning walk and some dip ass is recording a podcast right next to you the whole way. Let's see if my diverting helped. Okay, back to the music thing. You must love all the side tangents on this show. And by that I mean that's an order. You must love all the side tangents on this show. If you want to get into heaven, my exclusive nightclub, where we listen to Bo Diddley and serve corn on the cob. And you must wear a hat. It can be any kind of hat, but you have to wear it backwards. These are the rules of heaven. Okay. Metaphorical and literal tangent aside. Literal tangent? Let's say literal side street. My show has side streets built into it. Alright. The person seems to have gone a different way. Everything is right with the world. What a time in history to say that sentence. Because it seems like nothing is right. What was I talking about? Music. Anyway, stay tuned for Keith Ebert. He's coming up later in the show. So what I do is I take 40 albums, I download them onto my phone, and I smack shuffle. And then I don't listen, or rather, I don't look at the artist until something grabs me. I don't ever skip a song. You know, if it's boring me, I'll just let the thing play out. But if it grabs me, I go, whoa, okay, you have earned full album listen. And I know a lot of people, I have a lot of friends who are musicians and music majors, are positively offended by this way to listen to music. But like, what do you think the radio is? Like, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's like, I love to be challenged by a new kind of music. I don't want anyone to think that I only listen to like 1% of music. It's just more like, I'm very busy. I do a lot of stuff. And I don't have time to sit through a whole album that's boring the crap out of me. Now I know some people might be like, oh, but you missed the opportunity to catch that one thing that would really grab you if you don't listen to the whole album. And like, this might be really offensive to like crate digging DJs who are like, no. You're looking for the diamond in the rough. You gotta listen to all of it. My friend, there is never a point where a Roxy Music song is gonna make me go, whoa, that's wild. I'm just gonna put money down on it. Like, there are certain genres where you can just go, I'm good, thanks. These drums are boring as shit. I don't need this in my life. Because again, life's short. Ironically, I'm also the sort of person who, when they like a song, listens to it 100 times. So I'll admit, I probably sound like a little bit of a hypocrite. But nevertheless, that's how I listen to music. Just slap it all down, shuffle it. If it's boring, that's fine. Nothing about that song stuck in my memory, and it never will. But if something grabs me, I'm like, yes. And I make a lot of like dance music and electronic music, so I feel like people are like, got it. If there ain't a beat, you don't care. Or if there ain't some weird thing you can sample, you don't care. Well, no, I'll give you an example from literally one of my walks home, because you've probably figured out that I walk to and from work, so one of those walks is just me listening to music. And I was doing the shuffle thing one day, and this like folksy acoustic song about the new Wild West came on, and I was like, what is this? This is incredible. And I could tell that it seemed like it was from like the 90s or 2000s, because it had like political references that I was like, nobody would say this today. And it was Jewel. And that's the sort of thing where it's like, if I am in the headspace of I am sitting down and I am listening to an album, and this is very important and sacred, and I cannot wait for Jewel to pour her brain into mine for an hour, like, the seriousness of that just makes me tense up and not enjoy it. But if I am going about my day, having my swirly, weird stream of consciousness thoughts, and suddenly Jewel mentions Tom Hanks, this is exactly what grabbed me. I was like, wait a minute, what? Here I am alone with my thoughts, a nice guitar riff comes on, and suddenly Jewel says something about Tom Hanks. And I'm just like, oh, whoa, okay. And you know, sometimes a thing will grab my attention because they do something really interesting musically that I've never heard before. Other times I'm just like, whoa, what is the cultural touchstone on this? Like, what are the origins of this? How different was the world politically then and now? Damn, this is interesting to listen to. Like, and then it starts me thinking about like, wow, time changes so much. And now I'm down a path of like, yeah, my brain is fired up and interested. But like, if I tried to do the whole album thing, listening to genres that just don't grab me in any way, it does not work for me. And again, I know, well, probably 7 of you are listening to this, so maybe one of you is a really passionate music nerd or a DJ. I'm friends with a lot of musicians. I'm friends with a lot of DJs. I'm friends with a saxophone he was just kind of hanging on the street corner one night, and I was like, hey buddy, what's up? And I bought him a sandwich, and he brightened right up, and we're best friends now. Yeah, I know that might be wild to some people. I think my friend's response was like, that is chaos. And I get it. I get that might be strange to some people. But it's how I listen to music. I ain't got time for drums that do this. Forever, beginning of song to the end. Come on. Give me something a little more interesting. Give me something I can sink my teeth into. Okay, I've got the walk light. I decided to do the pesky crosswalk today. I am almost to work. So yeah, that's how I listen to music. And hopefully this recording hasn't stopped, so I have to make music. Though secretly, I kind of want to make music. In an alternate reality, this podcast is just I make a new song every day. Your mileage may vary on if that's a better or worse idea for a podcast. Anyway, thanks for listening to Fix My Carcast. And an 18-wheeler is pulling up at my sign-off. But that's okay. We can't plan for everything. Life is a beautiful mystery that you will never understand. Isn't that great? We'll go out on that one. Life's a beautiful mystery you will never understand. Give me some money.